Let's get to my next guest now. Speak with the founder of Turn Left Media, Curtis Daly. Curtis, always a pleasure to have your esteemed company too, my old son. Did you manage to stay awake through Rachel Reeves' speech this morning? I found it difficult, and if so, what leapt out at you?
Not much, actually. I think you described it as a nothing burger. You're probably right about that. The things that weren't in there, agree or disagree, the things I wanted to see were a wealth tax, because it's backed by 80% of the people. Even something like having capital gains tax at the same rate as income tax. The problem with Rachel Reeves and the Labour Party is not necessarily the policies, it's the political side. Because at the last general election, they said they weren't going to raise income tax, VAT, and national insurance. Now, of course, they went into that election saying, we're not going to have tax rises, we're going to stick to our fiscal rules. So basically, they paint themselves into a corner, and it's entirely their fault, by the way. And now they've got the media asking them, well, are you going to raise taxes or not? So the idea that this is anyone else's fault is ridiculous. Now, had the Labour Party said, look, we're going to raise taxes on the richest, or we're going to do a wealth tax, they would have won, partly because the Conservatives are toast, but also, again, I said, at least 80% of people support a wealth tax. Then you could at least say to the people, this is our manifesto, this is our political project, you voted for us, we're going to do it. But they said they're not going to do that, and now they've got these public services that they need to restore, and they've got no way of paying for it. I mean, they could pay for it by ditching the ridiculous fiscal rules. The one thing I do kind of agree with Rachel Reeves on, and it really irks me to say that, is I do hate it when governments blame past governments. So, the Conservatives did that about the Labour Party for years and about the financial crisis, which was a global financial crisis. But Rachel Reeves blaming austerity, that is a good point, because we've had 14 years of cuts and you can't fix that overnight. But what I don't like is when they say, and when Rachel Reeves says, is, well, we're blaming the Conservatives for the finances. You can literally fix that. You can invest in our public services. You can do it without even increasing taxes, by the way. These are political decisions. And this must be, sorry, I hate to go on, but when I think of David Cameron, I disagree with so much of his government and his policies, but he was an effective communicator, I think. Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer, these people in the Labour Party, politically, are the worst I've ever seen.
Well, a lot of people might agree with that, but I want to pick you up on a point you made a minute ago, Curtis Daly. Beloved of the socialist left, wealth taxes, they don't work. They've never worked. They don't work anywhere on the planet. They've failed in France. They failed in Spain. They failed anywhere they've been brought in, because it chases the wealthiest away, and there's multiple abundant proof that actually there's less return to the exchequer if you bring in socialist-style wealth taxes.
I'd hate to disagree with you, but you're actually wrong about that. First of all, the point of a wealth tax is to reduce inequality. A lot of politicians and the media...
But the wealthy just clear off.
Hold on. So the media pushes this idea that the economy is like a household budget, that we have a finite amount of money, and basically we have to spend it there and spend it here and cut back there. That's not how it works. That's not how the modern banking system works. So we can borrow, or we can use targeted quantitative easing to spend on public services. Then you tax it back afterwards. So first of all, it's not about bringing in revenue. It's about reducing inequality. Second of all, when it comes to the wealthy leaving, that doesn't happen, because this isn't about income taxes. It's about taxes on assets, and assets you cannot take with you. You can't take housing with you. You can't take land with you. These things are immovable taxable assets. And when it came to income taxes, again, the left are far more concerned about wealth than income, because I think you should be taxing unearned wealth and passive income rather than hard work. But even if you were to raise income tax on the rich, the report where apparently all these millionaires left showed that 0.3% left. So the reason why people don't bring in a wealth tax isn't because it doesn't work. As I said on your show the other day, there's no political will for it, because most political parties are funded by the extreme wealthy, and they're not going to support you by implementing a wealth tax, which hurts your donors.
OK, we shall have to agree to disagree, but it's always a pleasure to have your perspective.
Always a pleasure.
As the founder of Turn Left Media. Curtis Daly, thank you very, very much.